Fabio, how you look at the journey that led to what ECES is today, when you look at the headquarters in Brussels?
Brussels, it was an easy choice for us, also because we established ourselves with a very clear goal on our mind. And it was to establish this not-for-profit foundation to facilitate the electoral cooperation between the European Union member states, and the partner countries of the EU and the EU member states when it comes to electoral assistance. So we really wanted to be a nexus to facilitate this cooperation in a different manner than other international organization or multi-governmental organization would have done. However, we saw ourselves as internationals, Africans, Europeans, they wanted to establish this not-for-profit foundation to facilitate this cooperation that for us was extremely important to be carried out and implemented by truly European not-for-profit foundation, but also led by African colleagues and colleagues coming from the beneficiary worlds, let's say. Also not to have patronizing top-down approach, but having this peer-to-peer approach using comparative knowledge that we would have learned also from our African colleagues when it comes to the perception they do have when we provide electoral assistance or when we deploy the election observation. Recently, in the last decades, and even more in the last year, we saw that there is a reshuffling when it comes to the geopolitical systems, and certainly democracy is under threat and shrinking in many parts of the world.
How would you explain all these relationships that ECES has been able to develop in all these years and maintaining all these relationships with your partners?
Networks and the maintenance of networks and relationship with especially partners and beneficiaries has been all the time our primary goal, because in this kind of work where at the maximum you can actually bring your comparative experience for electoral management bodies or electoral stakeholders, other electoral partners consider to apply in their own countries, relationships are of primary importance. Also because there is a matter of trust and there is a matter of mutual respect that you need to build, whereby your partner need to perceive that you are there for genuinely advising on what is going to happen according to our vision if you adopt certain electoral step instead of another when it comes to our own comparative experience, but they have to know that we are there for them to consider our advice to organize their own elections. Because at the end of the day, elections is the most delicate and intimate exercise of a state. In the best scenario, any country in the world, any democratic regime country in the world should organize their own elections with their own resources when it comes to financial, logistical, operational, and human resource needs. So that is a situation where you need to be extra careful to build up and maintain relationships where you are accepted as a trusted advisor, where the partner, electoral management bodies or organization with whom we are working, they need to know we are there for their own elections. It's their own election, we are there to support and advise, but certainly the final decision is theirs. And at the case, we are particularly proud because not only we are a private not-for-profit foundation, but we are also independent and neutral. And what does it mean? Independent is because we never ask by choice, and we are not asking, and we will never ask funds to any donor, EU or EU member states, or philanthrope to fund and to support our headquarters. This also means that a case is certainly apolitical. We don't have specific political agenda to support, let alone being the implementing arm of some foreign policy.
ECES being an independent organization is a huge opportunity, but equally carries huge risks when it comes to defining your objectives. How you balance the two?
You know, first of all, personally, I made the decision, and all the persons that are working at the ECES made the decision on their own calculated risk. This means that here it is clear to everybody that we work till we do have projects and we have trust from the EU member states, which are practically our only donors that we are soliciting. And if we are implementing projects well, including appropriate financial management following proper donor rules, because we are dealing with public funds. Having the dream of creating this European foundation to support electoral assistance since my first ever experience in elections in '97 in Bosnia, I don't see it as a calculated risk. I see it as a dream that I managed to realize, let's say, not only for me, but for the more than 3,000 people that we have recruited now in the last 12 years of more than 60 nationalities. And here we want to contribute a little to the effort of the international community to democratization or to spread democratization. By the way, we are also working in the Middle East, and we've been working in Jordan, we've been working in Libya, we've been working in Sudan. So when we go and work in other countries and other realities, we need to take into consideration history, culture, the specific moment in time, and therefore this is what guides us. And the calculated risk that we are all taking is because we truly believe on what we do. And personally, but I think the majority of the people working on the case for years now, they think that what we do every morning is our own call to contribute a little to what we truly believe, and then it's peace messages or let's say example that came from Europe is peace or democracy does not come without a cost, and the cost, it's a lot of let's say power struggle, democratic struggle that takes years, decades, centuries to make it happen, and then is not without any step backs.
Obviously, managing such a multicultural and diverse staff from ECES headquarters is a huge task. And can you tell me how you build and maintain the relationships with electoral management bodies and other electoral stakeholders?
Indeed. With Abbot Apollinaire Malumalu, when we had the idea to finally implement the dream we had, ECES, immediately we had in our mind to have a multicultural team, both represented in the management board, in our strategic advisory committee, and especially in the management unit here and in the team. So therefore, since the beginning we had in mind to adopt a specific approach when it comes to, let's say, train our own people, for our own people then transmit the knowledge that they have acquired through us to our peers and partners. And this we have done by establishing a specific training curriculum that I think has been one of the big reasons of the success of the case, which is a specific curriculum on leadership and conflict management skills for electoral stakeholders. It is also important to remember that with Abbot Apollinaire Malumalu, we bet on the importance of networks of electoral management bodies in Africa and in the Middle East, and this is why we are closely collaborating since 12 years with the SADC Electoral Commission Forum, SADC standing for Southern African Development Communities, so the Southern African countries reunited when it comes to electoral management bodies. So we collaborate a lot with the electoral management bodies of the West Africa, ECOWAS, but we especially we collaborate with the Association of African Electoral Authorities through a memorandum of understanding that we have signed with the African Union. So these networks, including the fact that we have collaborated as well with the Arab network of electoral management bodies, means that we had the possibility to interact with many potential partners, and I think we have managed to build up a trustful relationship where they know we are not there to make politics. We are there to try to facilitate their own collaboration with the European Union member states when it comes for them to be donor to support their own elections. We are not a political actors, we are an operational actors there to facilitate electoral cooperation.
Fabio, what are in your view the qualities that someone who wants to join ECES should possess? What are the necessary qualities and skills that are needed when you choose someone to be part of your team?
To work with us? Well, first of all, I think joining, first of all, the electoral system world, it is not a job that is related to being a civil servant. There is a certain risk involved because any project we are doing, for one reason or another, political, security, operational, can actually be interrupted, can actually be suspended. And I have many examples in the last 12 years. So it's a challenging, I think, exciting job that we can actually offer. And the electoral assistance and working at the case, but also in other organizations, give you the luxury of knowing countries, the society of a country, the different walk of life of a country, from the highest political office up to the market, because we are doing a lot of large civic voter education campaign in one kind of job. So therefore you go in a country or here, let's say from headquarters, you are assigned to work on a specific project, you need to be sure that you will know that country from A to Z. It is not all the job that they are giving this luxury of really going into deep of the political scenario, of the social issues of a specific country, economic issues, development cooperation issues, diplomatic issues, geopolitical issues. It is, I think, an important aspect of a job that you need to consider if you are searching for a passion. If you are searching for a stable job, I don't think a case it is the best way in the traditional way of intending stable job.
Fabio, when looking back at the last 12 years, how would you describe the journey of ECES since its foundation?
I would resume it in one word. It's resilience. We have been extremely resilient, also because when I resigned from the United Nations Development Program, and I decided to jump on this journey, of course, outside international organization, having been work at the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, at the European Union, a United Nations Development Program, outside this world, I never had any working experience, because I finished university and I take a plane and I went to Sarajevo and I started to work in the electoral world, and here we are today, 2022. So this means that I had no idea on how to build up and run a not-for-profit private foundation that I had established. The idea I had, maybe idealized idea, I had 12 years ago to where we reach today, of course, are completely different, because I had not foreseen quite a lot of challenges that you can only learn by doing. So resilience, learning by doing, and a lot of passion brought us where we are today, and especially because I was lucky to be surrounded and to have chosen to be surrounded by persons that most of the times are actually more capable than me in several of the field of project management or electoral issues. So I'm very proud of what we have doing. I'm very sad that Abbot Apollinaire Malumalu is not with us to see the success, because he got sick in 2014, and after disease that was very detrimental also to his physical and mental situation for 2 years, he deceased in 2016, so already 6-7 years ago. So he has not seen the success of the development of the creature that he had established, implementing the idea I suggested him when I met.